I remember the day I left that company like it was etched into my bones, sharp, burning, and unforgiving. The cold, sterile corridor, the echo of footsteps fading behind me as I stepped out into the world with nothing but a battered backpack and 1,000 unspoken doubts. My colleagues, my friends, the very people I had once dreamt of impressing, they called me a traitor, a fool, a disgrace. My family, they called me an embarrassment, a reckless idiot chasing after a pipe dream. Robotics? Humanitarian robotics? That's a waste of genius, my father sneered. You're throwing your life away on a fantasy. They didn't see the fire in my chest, the unyielding conviction that this was my purpose. I knew, deep down, I was destined for something different. I knew my work could matter, could save lives, rebuild hope in the aftermath of chaos. But their words, their relentless mocking, felt like a punch to the gut every time. And yet, I walked away. I threw myself into the shadows of the niche adaptive robotics designed for disaster survivors, for worlds that had crumbled and needed someone to rebuild them, not just with machinery, but with empathy. For years, I poured everything I had into that dream. I toiled in obscurity, dismissed by the industry, mocked as a waste of genius, a crazy idealist. But I kept going. I knew the truth of what I was doing. I knew that technology without compassion was hollow. I knew that real progress meant touching lives, not just patents and profits. And then the breakthrough came. Word spread of the robotic systems I developed, machines that could adapt to unpredictable terrains, rebuild ecosystems, and restore hope. My work revolutionized rescue efforts. I watched as barren lands transformed into thriving communities, as disaster zones turned into gardens of life. It was undeniable. The skeptics, those who once ridiculed me, began to see the truth. I was not a fool. I was a pioneer. Then one day I returned home, not just a visit, but a triumphant homecoming. I knew they'd hear about my success, but I wanted them to see it firsthand. I wanted them to face what they had dismissed, what they had mocked for so long. The day I arrived, I brought with me a team of engineers, some of the brightest minds I'd recruited from around the world. We had transformed what was once an arid, lifeless patch of land into a lush, green ecosystem, an oasis of life, a testament to what empathy-driven technology could accomplish. The land bloomed, rivers flowed where none had before, and animals returned, drawn by the restored habitat. I stood there in the middle of it all, watching my work breathe life into the earth. And then I saw them, my family, standing at the edge of the new landscape, faces a mixture of awe, disbelief, and something else I couldn't quite place. My father, who had once called me a waste of genius, looked like he'd swallowed his pride in a gulp. My mother's eyes welled with tears, her face a mixture of pride and regret. It was then I knew the moment had come. I stepped forward, voice steady, unshaken. "This," I said, gesturing to the thriving land, "is what happens when you believe in someone, when you see beyond your own limited vision, beyond your fears and doubts." I was mocked, dismissed, told I was foolish. But I kept faith, not just in myself, but in the idea that technology can heal, can restore, can bring hope where none existed. My words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. I looked directly at my father, who had once told me I'd never amount to anything. "You told me I was wasting my genius, that I was an embarrassment, but I proved you wrong. Not just with this land, but with every life saved, every hope restored." There was silence. Then my father's eyes softened, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. My mother reached out, her hand trembling as she touched the soil, and I realized this was more than just a victory. It was redemption. They saw me now, not as the reckless dreamer they'd mocked, but as a creator of life, a builder of hope. And I finally understood something profound. The greatest triumph isn't just the success you achieve, but the redemption you earn by staying true to your purpose. Despite every scornful voice, as I turned to leave, I looked back at them, my family, the people who once doubted me, who ridiculed my passion, who believed I was destined for failure. They had witnessed firsthand what I had become, a testament to resilience, empathy, and unwavering belief. And I knew, with unwavering certainty, that this was just the beginning. Because what I built wasn't just a thriving ecosystem. It was a legacy, a proof that even in the face of rejection, betrayal, and mockery, staying true to your purpose can transform not just land, but lives and ultimately hearts. The road to this moment was brutal. The betrayal by my former company, the relentless skepticism, the loneliness. But every scar, every setback, every mocking word had been fuel. Fuel that pushed me to reinvent what was possible. To prove that technology, when driven by empathy, could change the world. And change it I did. So, to everyone out there feeling dismissed, mocked, or underestimated, this is your story too. Because your failures aren't the end. They're the beginning of something greater. Keep believing, keep fighting, because someday you'll return, not just victorious, but transformed, and ready to show the world what true success looks like. And when you do, the world will have no choice but to listen and be changed.